$64 per ounce, that's where silver is trading right now. Not because of industrial demand, not because of investor speculation, not because of supply chain disruptions. Because the global financial system is carrying $318 trillion in debt against only $105 trillion in total economic output. We owe 3 times more than we make. And throughout history, when debt reaches these levels, one asset class has protected wealth without exception: silver. And here's what should make your stomach drop. This exact pattern has played out 4 times across 2,000 years. Same debt spiral, same currency collapse, same wealth transfer. And every single time, silver didn't just preserve wealth, it multiplied it. Not because silver changed, because everything else failed. This isn't speculation, it's a pattern. A pattern so precise, so mathematically predictable that once you see it, you'll understand why $100 per ounce isn't a target. It's a mathematical inevitability. Let me show you exactly how this works. Before we continue, this is educational content for informational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video constitutes financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. Always consult qualified professionals before making financial decisions. Here's the mechanism that's been destroying currencies for 2 millennia. It happens in 4 stages, every single time. No exceptions. Stage 1, foundation. A nation establishes real money, gold coins, silver coins, currency backed by something tangible. This creates trust. Trade flourishes, the economy expands. People believe in the system because it represents actual value. Stage 2, expansion and debasement. The government needs more money, wars to fund, social programs to finance, political promises to keep, so they cheat. They reduce the precious metal content in coins. They print more paper than they have metal to back it. They tell everyone the money is still good because the government says so. And for a while, people believe it. Stage 3, loss of control. Prices start rising, the currency weakens. People notice their purchasing power evaporating. They start converting paper into real assets, land, commodities, gold, silver. The government panics and prints even more to cover obligations. This accelerates the problem. Prices spiral, trust collapses, society fractures. Stage 4, the reset. The currency dies, sometimes quickly, sometimes over decades, but it always dies. The government either introduces a completely new currency or they're forced back to commodity money. There's an economic reset, often civil unrest, sometimes regime change. And here's what matters most. The people who held real assets survive. The people who trusted paper lose everything. This has happened 4 separate times in recorded history. Same mechanism, same stages, same outcome. Let me prove it. Rome, 64 AD, Emperor Nero faces a crisis. The Great Fire has destroyed 2/3 of the city. He's fighting expensive wars against Parthia. Civil conflicts are bleeding resources. The Jewish revolt is draining the treasury. And Rome's silver mines can't produce enough metal to meet his spending needs. So Nero makes a decision that will echo through centuries. The Denarius, Rome's silver coin. It had been 95% pure silver since Emperor Augustus. Trusted throughout the empire, accepted everywhere. The foundation of Roman commerce. Nero cuts it to 80% silver. Same coin, less metal, more coins from the same amount of silver. Stage 1 complete, the foundation built on real money. Stage 2 beginning. The debasement starts. Now watch what happens over the next 200 years. Every emperor faces the same problem: growing expenses, limited revenue. And the easiest solution sitting right there, just debase the currency a little more. 197 AD, Emperor Septimius Severus wants to keep his soldiers loyal. Military pay was the largest budget item, so he doubles their wages. But Rome can't afford it. The denarius drops to 46% silver, half of what Nero started with. His son Caracalla takes it further. 215 AD, he introduces a new coin, the Antoninianus, supposedly worth 2 denarii, but it only contains 1.5 times the silver. Mathematical fraud at the imperial level. By the time Gallienus becomes emperor in the 260s, the silver content has collapsed to 5%. What was once a silver coin is now bronze with a thin silver wash. Stage 2 complete, massive currency debasement over 2 centuries. Stage 3 hits hard, prices explode, the cost of grain triples in a decade. Soldiers refuse to accept the debased coins. They demand payment in goods or old coins with actual silver content. The economy partially collapses. People hoard any real silver they can find. Bad money drives good money out of circulation. This is Gresham's law playing out in real time. By 310 AD, the system is broken. Constantine has to create an entirely new currency system just to restore basic economic function. The gold solidus, backed by actual gold. The old denarius worthless. You need millions of debased denarii to equal one new gold solidus. Stage 4 complete, currency death, economic reset, wealth transfer. Those who held real silver through the crisis maintained their purchasing power. Those who trusted Roman currency lost everything. All 4 stages, perfect execution. And Rome was the dominant superpower of its era, the most advanced civilization on Earth. It didn't matter. The pattern executed anyway. Let's jump forward 300 years. Weimar Germany, 1914 to 1923. Germany abandons the gold standard when World War I starts. They're certain the war will be short. The losers will pay for everything. Standard imperial thinking. Germany loses. The Treaty of Versailles hits them with 132 billion gold marks in reparations. In today's money, that's over $500 billion. The annual payments alone consume 25% of Germany's entire GDP. The math is impossible from day one. The new democratic government wants to keep voters happy. They want to rebuild. They need social programs. But tax revenue only covers 37% of government spending. So the Reichsbank starts printing money to cover the gap. Stage 1 already compromised, Stage 2 launching immediately. Before the war, Germany had a gold-backed mark, one of the strongest currencies in Europe. Solid foundation, real money, then they started printing. Early 1922, 160 marks buys $1. Bad but manageable. The government says it's temporary. People believe them. 6 months later, 7,400 marks per dollar. That's a 46-fold devaluation in half a year. The government is still printing, still saying everything will stabilize. Stage 2 is now accelerating rapidly. Then 1923 hits. France and Belgium invade the Ruhr Valley, Germany's industrial heartland. They're taking resources as payment for missed reparations. The German government responds by supporting a general strike. They pay 2 million workers to not work. The printing press goes into absolute overdrive. June 1923, 192,000 marks per dollar. October, 170 billion marks per dollar. November 4th, 2 trillion marks per dollar. Stage 3 isn't arriving, it's exploding. Here's what that looked like on the ground. People are carrying wheelbarrows full of cash to buy bread. A student orders coffee. Before he can order a second cup, the price has increased 40%. Workers get paid twice a day because their morning wages become worthless by afternoon. Farmers stop selling food for paper money. They want gold, silver, anything real. People are starving in the streets of one of the world's most advanced nations. A loaf of bread cost 160 marks at the end of 1922. 10 months later, that same loaf costs 200 billion marks. Read that again. 200 billion marks for bread. The middle class is annihilated. Life savings become worthless overnight. Pensions evaporate. Anyone holding paper wealth loses everything. November 15th, 1923. The government introduces the Rentenmark. 1 trillion old marks equals 1 new Rentenmark. The old currency declared worthless by decree. Stage 4 complete, currency death, economic reset, wealth transfer. Within a decade, the economic trauma and social desperation from this collapse helps bring Adolf Hitler to power. The consequences of Stage 4 don't end with currency death. They reshape entire nations. Same pattern, all 4 stages. Even faster execution than Rome. From functional currency to complete collapse in 4 years. And this was happening in Germany, the nation with arguably the best engineers and scientists in the world at the time. It didn't matter. The pattern doesn't care about national prowess. Now here's what nobody mentions about Weimar. If you held silver through that entire period, you maintained your purchasing power. While paper mark holders lost everything, silver holders could still buy bread, still buy food, still preserve their family's wealth because you cannot print silver. Now, the United States, August 15th, 1971. President Nixon appears on television. He announces the United States will temporarily suspend the convertibility of dollars into gold. The Bretton Woods system dies that night. Nixon says this is a short-term measure. It's never been reopened. 55 years later, still temporary. Before Nixon, from 1944 to 1971, the dollar was backed by gold, $35 per ounce, fixed. Other currencies pegged to the dollar. This created the post-war boom. Stable international trade, monetary order, real foundation, stage 1 complete. But by 1971, there are 4 times as many dollars circulating as there is gold to back them. The Federal Reserve has been printing to fund Vietnam, the Great Society programs, expanding government commitments. Foreign governments notice. They start demanding gold. America's gold reserves are bleeding out. Nixon had no choice. Close the gold window or run out of gold. He closed it. All constraints on money printing disappear. Stage 2 goes into overdrive. The 1970s, stagflation, oil shocks, the dollar collapses against real assets. Gold goes from $35 per ounce in 1970 to $850 by 1980, 24 times higher. That's not gold going up, that's the dollar being exposed. But the printing never stops. 2008 financial crisis, print trillions. 2020 COVID response, print 6 trillion in 18 months. Today, US national debt stands at $36.1 trillion. We're paying $892 billion per year just in interest. That's more than defense spending. And by 2034, interest payments are projected to hit $1.7 trillion annually. Here's what's happening right now that proves we're deep in stage 3. Before 1971, when productivity went up, wages went up, lockstep. Since 1971, productivity keeps rising, but real wages flatline. The wealth gap explodes. Asset prices inflate while purchasing power erodes. In 1971, someone earning the median income could save up and buy a house in 2.5 years. Today, it takes over 7 years. Food costs more, energy costs more, healthcare costs more, education costs astronomical amounts. The middle class is getting squeezed. This is stage 3. Loss of control, currency debasement destroying purchasing power. And globally, trust is cracking. Central banks are diversifying reserves away from dollars. BRICS nations openly discussing alternatives. China and Russia accumulating gold at record rates. The petrodollar system showing structural fractures. Every indicator that preceded stage 4 in previous collapses is present today. The pattern is repeating. The only question is, are you ready for stage 4? Stage 1. Real money foundation, completed with Bretton Woods. Stage 2, massive currency expansion and debasement, ongoing since 1971. Stage 3, loss of control. We are here right now. Currency weakening, trust eroding, alternative systems being built. Same pattern, all 4 stages. The only question is timing. Do we follow Britain's path? Slow decline over 30 years? Or do we follow Weimar? Rapid collapse in 4 years. The mechanism is identical, only the speed varies. So where does silver fit into this pattern? Throughout every currency collapse in history, people flee to real assets. Gold and silver have been money for 5,000 years. Not because of tradition, because they possess unique properties. They're scarce, durable, divisible, portable, fungible, and most critically, they cannot be printed. Right now, gold trades at approximately $4,300 per ounce. Silver sits at $64. That's a ratio of 67 to 1. Historically, that ratio averages between 15 to 1 and 50 to 1. During currency crises, it tightens dramatically. If the ratio just returned to the historical average of 50 to 1 with gold where it is today, silver would trade at $86 per ounce. That's a 34% increase from current prices just to hit average, not crisis levels, not panic, just normal historical ratio. But here's what the pattern tells us. In Rome, as the Denarius collapsed, citizens hoarded any silver coins they could find. Old silver coins commanded premiums over debased ones. In Weimar, as paper marks became worthless, people traded everything for tangible goods. Silver, gold, food, anything real. In every currency crisis throughout history, precious metals become the primary refuge. And silver has a unique characteristic that gold doesn't. Silver serves dual purposes. It's both a monetary metal and an industrial metal. Every smartphone contains it. Every solar panel requires it. Electric vehicles need it. The green energy transition demands it. Industrial demand creates a price floor. Monetary demand during crisis creates explosive upside. The inflation-adjusted high for silver from 1980 would be $194 in today's currency. The 2011 high adjusts to $70 today. We're currently trading at $64. The metal that has been money for 5 millennia is priced as if nothing is wrong, as if 318 trillion in global debt can somehow be managed, as if this time is different. And that's what they always say. This time is different. American exceptionalism will protect us. The dollar's reserve currency status makes us special. Modern monetary theory means we can print without consequences. Technological innovation will save us. Strong institutions will prevent collapse. They said similar things in Rome when it ruled the known world. 3 centuries of dominance, advanced engineering, powerful military, complex bureaucracy. Didn't matter. The pattern executed. They said it in Weimar Germany, one of the most advanced societies of its time. World-class scientists, industrial powerhouse, highly educated population. The pattern doesn't care about exceptionalism. It doesn't care about technology or institutions or military power. The pattern cares about math, and the math is screaming at us right now. You cannot sustain $318 trillion in global debt against $105 trillion in economic output. You cannot debase a currency indefinitely without consequences. You cannot print your way to prosperity. These aren't opinions. These are mathematical realities. The laws of economics work exactly like the laws of physics. You can ignore them. You can deny them, but you cannot break them. And when they reassert themselves, they do it fast and without mercy. So here's what you need to understand. Silver at $64 with a gold ratio of 67-1, with debt at all-time highs, with money printing continuing, with interest rates trapped because raising them would collapse the debt structure, with every historical indicator pointing towards stage 4. The risk to reward equation is staggering. 4 historical examples: Rome over 2 centuries, Weimar in 4 years, Britain over 30 years, America ongoing for 55 years. 4 different speeds, 4 different contexts, same pattern, same stages, same outcome. The machine doesn't care what you believe, it only executes. Now let me be crystal clear about what I'm not saying. I'm not predicting silver hits exactly $100 on a specific date. I'm not promising you'll get rich. I'm not saying the world is ending tomorrow. What I am saying is this: the pattern has executed 4 times in history. Each time, currency holders lost everything. Each time, holders of real assets preserved wealth. Each time, silver and gold maintained purchasing power when paper failed. We are demonstrably in stage 3 right now. Every metric confirms it. Debt to GDP ratios, currency debasement, trust erosion, alternative systems being built, political instability, social fracturing. These aren't predictions. These are current measurements. Stage 4 has always followed stage 3. Always. Not once in recorded history has a nation in late stage 3 reversed course back to stage 1. It doesn't happen. The mathematics won't allow it, the political economy won't allow it, the pattern completes. So what do you do with this information? 3 things. First, understand the machine. See the pattern clearly. Recognize that what's happening now isn't random. It's not unprecedented. It's not even unusual. It's systematic, it's predictable. It's been documented 4 times across 2,000 years. Stop believing this time is different. It never is. Second, position yourself accordingly, not panic, preparation. Consider assets that hold real value when paper fails. Throughout history, that has meant scarce resources, tangible goods, and yes, precious metals that cannot be printed into existence. Not because they make you rich, because they prevent you from becoming poor when currency fails. Silver isn't speculation, it's insurance. It's a mathematical hedge against the certainty that $318 trillion in debt demands resolution. And every historical example shows that resolution involves the repricing of real assets against failing currencies. Third, stop waiting for someone to fix this. No politician will stop stage 4. No central banker can print their way out of a printing problem. No policy intervention can overcome mathematical impossibility. The only question is whether you'll see it coming, whether you'll position yourself before the transition becomes obvious to everyone else. Remember, this is pattern recognition based on historical analysis. Past performance does not guarantee future results. All investments carry risk. This is education, not advice. 2008 was significant, but it wasn't the systemic collapse, it was the warm-up. The real crisis, the one that completes stage 4, hasn't happened yet. But if you understand the pattern, you'll see it building. The stages are clicking into place. The debt is accelerating. The currency debasement is accelerating. The loss of trust is accelerating. Silver at $64 isn't expensive. It's undervalued by every historical metric. The gold to silver ratio isn't normal. It's stretched. The debt to GDP ratios aren't sustainable. They're terminal. These aren't opinions. These are measurements against 2,000 years of data. If you want to understand exactly how central banks are positioning themselves right now, why they're accumulating gold at record rates while telling you inflation is under control, and the 3 specific assets that have survived every single currency collapse in recorded history, I'm breaking that down in the next video. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Because once you see who's preparing for stage 4 and how they're doing it, the entire picture becomes crystal clear. The pattern is executing. Stage 3 is ending. Stage 4 is coming. The only question is whether you'll be ready when it arrives. The machine is running, the mathematics are inescapable, and the historical pattern has never been broken, not once, not ever.